What's going on, Dunces family? With another episode here of the Dunces podcast with Isandro, Johnny, and myself, Jayson. How you doing today, guys?
Feeling great.
Lakers still suck.
Yeah.
AD's back though.
And he's back though
back.
for like 2 games. And he gets injured.
So far, so
back.
good. It's
So
better
far,
than
so
nothing.
good.
Yeah. I mean, they beat my Nets, so that's enough, I guess.
Yeah.
But guys, we are here with another episode of the Dunces podcast. Whether you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever it is you listen to, or if you're watching our clip on YouTube, welcome and please subscribe, like, and hit the like button down below, and shout us out to all your friends. Anyway, guys, today we're going to talk about the All-Stars. As we all know, today it is January 27th, 2022. The All-Star starters have been officially posted. So if we can do Isandro tell us the East and Johnny tell us the West, if you guys have that on there. Just a quick consideration, we all know that the starters are voted by the fans, the media, coaches, and also players themselves. So with that being said, guys, Isandro, tell us who the East starters are of this upcoming season.
DeMar DeRozan. We got Trey Young, and probably the most obvious it's ever been in years, in terms of an East front court, backcourt, front court.
Yeah.
We got Embiid, we got Giannis, and we got KD. So
Yep. So that's the five starters for technically the Eastern Conference, even though we know that they have like a little draft thing. So but as of right now, those are the five best from or voted by the public and everything that I mentioned before. That's the Eastern Conference. Now, Johnny, let's get the Western Conference.
Cool. All right. So it's headlined by the captain, my captain, our captain, LeBron James, 18-time All-Star, Steph Curry. Steph does not know how to shoot anymore. Curry, 8-time All-Star, Nikola Jokic, and first-time All-Star John Morant, and then a G League player who's getting his first start. Yeah, this might be an overseas player. And Andrew Wiggins.
Wiggins. Say it right, okay? Wiggins.
Overseas G League prospect.
I know Jay loves that.
I'm still very concerned about that, but it is what it is.
Remember, we had this discussion about Andrew Wiggins. I was like, bro, this guy's an all-star. But bro, starter, I would have never thought they would have actually voted him.
So let's talk about that real quick.
Something against Adam Silver.
Let's do that. Let's do that to begin, because the last podcast we had, I mentioned that Wiggins, sure, he might have deserved to be an all-star, but I also said that he does not deserve to be an all-star starter. Now, I said that without actually thinking, okay, let's look at the front court players in the Western Conference. I mean, you have Draymond Green, who, is averaging nothing he's averaging is over 10 points. Everything is below 10 points, right? So there's Draymond Green, there's Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns. I don't know. I don't know anybody else, to be honest. So then, we had Paul George, who injured, Kawhi, who's injured.
Yeah.
Luka is considered a backcourt player this year, so he wasn't eligible to be placed in the front court. Now, with all that's being said, then maybe Andrew Wiggins did deserve to be an all-star starter.
Well, because look, what you were saying wasn't wrong, but Draymond's been injured, so it's kind of like a recency bias kind of thing, and also coupled with the fact that Andrew kept playing, so.
And I mean, Andrew Wiggins hasn't had a bad season, but if anything, he's had a great season. Everybody knows me; I don't like Wiggins, but you got to give flowers to where flowers are due. He deserves it. He definitely deserves an all-star spot. All-star starter is a little concerning to me, but you know what? I'm happy for him because he has endured a lot throughout his career in Minnesota. Now being a part of a championship contending team in Golden State, and he's arguably the second best scoring option alongside Steph. So yeah, I mean, he definitely deserves to be an all-star. An all-star starter is a little bit of a stretch, but when you look at everything, the whole Draymond Green being injured and also just not enough players available, it makes sense that Wiggins is an all-star starter. But what do you think about that whole situation, Johnny? Do you think that there was really much of a case for anyone else other than Wiggins?
Yeah, I mean, if in a normal year, Luka would have probably taken Andrew Wiggins' spot. You really think about. I mean, personally, I think I would have put Anthony Edwards as a starter or Brandon Ingram over over Andrew over Andrew Wiggins. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, I personally would put those guys over. But who really deserves it? I mean, Andrew Wiggins had a really efficient year.
He's played great defense too.
Good defense. Whole team's been playing great defense. I mean, who's there? I mean, like really to think about it, he's been a really big contributor on one of the best teams this year. They are kind of fluttering a little bit, but I mean, let's give credit where credit's due. He's having a phenomenal year from three, very efficient. As of late, I mean, hasn't been living up to the calling card.
Yeah.
That's my issue. Like you kind of mentioned it. Like they're asking him to produce more, and he just can't produce more, which is the reason why we're so like trepidatious of him being a all-star starter.
I love that.
I feel like
big word. Okay.
Who deserves to be an all-star starter? Anthony Edwards. Who's got 40 points with 0 assists? Last player since Melo, Anthony Edwards. That's who my all-star starter.
It was more fun to
Andrew
watch. Anthony Edwards is more fun to watch.
I don't know. Have you seen Andrew Wiggins' poster dunks?
Have you seen Anthony Edwards poster
dunks?
Yeah, Anthony Edwards is different, bro. And
Anthony Edwards poster dunks, his dunks that don't even count are better than
the one where he jumped over a man and they called the freaking tech. That one hurt, bro, because he deserved that dunk, man.
That was one of the best posters in like NBA history, no cap.
Yeah,
it was insane.
Posters that didn't count. It'll always and forever be in history for one of the craziest dunks that did not count. But yeah, I agree with you to that extent. I think Edwards is I would personally rather have Edwards, but I also understand why Wiggins was slotted in there. But I also brought it up in the last podcast too. Wiggins hasn't been producing as much, just like Johnny has said. So it's kind of like, yeah, he deserved it at first, but then he kind of had a dip. But then again, the whole Warriors team kind of had a dip. So you can't really fault just Wiggins. But it does suck that, he hasn't been producing as well as he did at first. And he still gets voted in. I don't know. But that's also because I don't like Wiggins. So, maybe it's just.
I mean, you got to look at his numbers. Like, if you compare Andrew Wiggins' stats, right? Brandon Ingram and Anthony Edwards are both averaging around 22, right? Andrew Wiggins is averaging 18, 4, and 2. But it's like an efficient 18, and it's contributing to a winning team.
And defense.
If you replaced Andrew Wiggins' number, like say if let's think of a popular player. Say if Shai had the same numbers like Andrew, never mind. Like I'm just trying to think, like if there's more popular players that had better numbers over Wiggins, they would be voted in. I think it's not fair. And why is it deep looking all-star?
It's part of that though. That's not entirely it though, because it's not like Wiggins got in over a lack of options. It's just the other players, their situations don't really allow them to be considered for that starter spot. Like Anthony Edwards is great, but because of that lack of defense, because his team, I mean, they just started winning. They haven't been great, but they're like decent. And the same thing for Ingram. His team has been awful, which isn't his fault, but also like with the defense and the inefficiency, it's like Wiggins is kind of like a default.
So explain why D-Book didn't get an all-star nod.
Well, he's a backcourt player, so that's the problem.
I think that's the same case with Edwards. He might be a backcourt. If he is a backcourt, then now I officially understand what Wiggins is. But
I still think he would have gotten it over just because of popularity,
Who, Wiggins over Edwards?
Just because of popularity. Even though people love Edwards too, but like the Warriors were put on a pedestal at the beginning of the season, right? Rightfully so. Like they all did very well. Steph got
they were doing
nods,
great.
So
no,
his impact is going to be seen by everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. Everybody knows. Again, I don't like Wiggins. I don't think he's a good number one pick. But also at the time, it was a good pick. I just hate that he's playing so well in Golden State when he had Kevin Garnett as a mentor. He had Karl Anthony Towns as his, right-hand man. he had a lot of potential there in Minnesota. He was too cocky there, you know. And
Well,
so
he's just not
now
that guy,
he
bro.
got
Just
here, and now
He
he's
needed leader. Like if KG was like a few years younger, he would have done a lot better. But KG was at the tail end of his career. He needed the leadership.
yeah,
He
I
also
guess.
needed that defensive presence, which again goes back to KG. Like if KG was there, the leadership and the defense was there. But Cat don't play defense, bro. Like come on, bro.
Yeah, no, I agree, but it just
Like
sucks
he
that
needed somebody
he's
like Draymond.
thriving.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, it just sucks that he's thriving so well in Golden State when Wiggins. I mean, when Cat needed all that help.
But
But you
that's
know,
not Wiggins' fault though. That's the organization's fault because they could have had Wiggins and Cat, and they could have given them more, and they could have had a leader. They could have had somebody to lead them defensively, and then they would have been good. If they would have had Jimmy for longer, like that whole situation, like
that
if
was
Jimmy was
but
there,
Jimmy left because of Wiggins and Cat though, because
Yeah.
those two were not producing as well as they should have. They were like how Ben Simmons is acting now, where like they think they're too good and all that. You know
that
that was
might be
the
a
case.
culture thing, though, to be honest. Because it wasn't just Cat. Like you can't say
Yeah.
like, oh, Cat, you average
But is it
24,
a
but your
culture
team's not
thing?
doing good.
Is
You
it
know,
a culture thing? Because Edwards he's thriving there in Minnesota.
okay,
So-
hey, yes, hey, that's why Sandra points right because they uprooted that entire culture that was
That's
there.
you know what, that's true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Say
Well, they
they
uprooted that
changed it.
culture. They uprooted that culture every single year he was there. So I guess to that extent, you're right. But
I mean,
I don't
third
know.
time's the charm, right?
But it is exciting to see him thrive, and you know it's cool to see him, I guess, in the starting lineup.
So
whatever.
on the